Hello, everyone. Welcome to Barca News. It is March 14th, 2026, and Roony Bardaghji, ladies and gentlemen, could be sold come the summer transfer market. Also, Barcelona currently tracking and keeping a close eye on a Chelsea winger. I'm going to tell you who it is. And finally, John Laporta suggesting different formulas to sign Marcus Rashford. We have a lot to discuss, so let's begin. Hello everyone, welcome to the channel. My name is Boo. We'll begin this video with some sad news because, ladies and gentlemen, the former Barcelona president Enrique Reyna has passed away. Now, if you don't know who Enrique Reyna is, he was born in Barcelona on May 15th, 1940, and he became associate of the club on September 15th, 1965. So at 25 years old, he was already a club soci. He was appointed to the board of directors of the former Barcelona president, Joan Gaspar, and he later became the vice president in December of 2002. Now, when Joan Gaspar resigned in February of 2003, Enrique Reyna became the Barcelona president since he was the VP. And on May 5th of 2003, when the entire board of directors resigned, Enrique Reyna resigned as well. And then a caretaker management committee chaired by Joan Traiter took over the management of the club in order to organize the elections. And of course, those elections were won by John Laporta, who won them back in 2003. So Enrique Reyna was the president of the club for 89 days. I think it is the shortest presidency term from any Barcelona president. And during those 89 days, Enrique Reyna oversaw a very difficult period in the history of the club, where the club was going through a very tumultuous financial situation, and the first team, was going through a slump. But nonetheless, during those 89 days, Enrique Reyna saw a club that won 3 trophies, including the Spanish Cup in basketball, the Spanish Cup in roller hockey, and the EHF Cup in handball. And he also signed the agreement with the Catalan Sports Council to promote the practice, dissemination, and exhibition of sport among school-aged children and young people across all of Catalonia. Now, Enrique Reyna will always be remembered by his quote when he resigned, where he said, "I dream of a Barça of which members, supporters, employees, players, and directors feel proud, both of the colors and of the way things are done." So may you rest in peace, Enrique Reyna, and my thoughts and prayers are to his family members. Now on to the next bit of news, because, ladies and gentlemen, it's being reported that Roony Bardaghji could be sold come this summer transfer market. Now, Barcelona signed Roony Bardaghji for 2.5 million euros, and his market value has increased to 10 million euros so far at Barcelona, which of course is making the Barcelona board of directors consider his sale, given that his value has gone up by 4 times or 4x. And of course, this is not something very usual in the world of investing. And as such, Barcelona are considering selling him because they can quadruple the amount that they spent on him. But so far, Roony Bardaghji is committed to staying at the club. In fact, he rejected many offers during this winter transfer market because his goal and his dream is to stay at FC Barcelona. Now, in my opinion, I think it would be an absolute shame to sell Roony Bardaghji. We haven't even seen what this guy is capable of. And by the way, for those who are always asking me, Mo, why doesn't Roony Bardaghji play more? Well, here's the thing. Flick's plan for Roony Bardaghji was always a plan of adaptation. His first season was never meant to be a season of lots of minutes and starting matches and playing left and right. First season of Roony Bardaghji under Hansi Flick the plan was always for Roony Bardaghji to adapt to Spanish football, to adapt to La Liga, to adapt to Barcelona style of play. So this is why Roony Bardaghji hasn't been getting much minutes, because the whole idea is for Roony Bardaghji to learn all these different concepts So this is why he hasn't been playing. So this is why I'm saying it will be an absolute shame that Barcelona sell him, because he's still adapting, he's still learning. We haven't even seen what Roony Bardaghji can offer us. So why sell him, especially when you only spent 2.5 million euros? It's not like you spent 60 million euros on him and now he's just sitting there and your money is going to waste. 2.5 million euros is nothing in this football market. Now, Hansi Flick was asked in the pre-match press conference about Roony Bardaghji and the little minutes he's been getting, because I think the last start that he had was back on February 28th, and this is what Flick had to say. A few minutes, it's no problem. He's very professional and has an excellent attitude. It's not easy for him to play on this team, especially with the quality we have, but he does a great job in training. So Hansi Flick, again, making it clear that a few minutes, that's not a problem. After all, that's always been the plan for Roony Bardaghji, right? The first season was always supposed to be an adaptation season. And then Flick also making it clear that Roony Bardaghji is actually doing really well in training. So we will see how Roony Bardaghji continues to grow, develop, learn, and hopefully he'll get more minutes, especially during this final stretch of the season as fatigue starts to set in. Now on to that next bit of news, because ladies and gentlemen, Barcelona are closely tracking a Chelsea winger, and it's no other than Pedro Neto. Now, if you don't know who Pedro Neto is, he's a 26-year-old Portuguese winger who's currently plowing his trade at Chelsea. He has a contract until 2031 with a 60 million market value. So far this season, he has scored 10 goals and provided 6 assists, and he's a winger known for his speed, unpredictability, and ability to create chances in difficult situations. And of course, his versatility, because not only can he play on the right wing, he can also play as a left wing and even as a false 9. Now, this qualities of this player has caught the attention of Barcelona, who are currently keeping a close eye on Pedro Neto, who might want to leave come this summer transfer market. But of course, because of course, knowing Chelsea, who signed everyone and their mothers, well, Pedro Neto has a lot of competition on Chelsea and could be looking for more minutes somewhere else. Now, this interest is only in the early stages, meaning that Barcelona are just watching him, keeping an eye on him, not necessarily going all out to sign him or contacting him. And of course, as you know, Barcelona's priorities are center forward and center back. So if they decide to sign Pedro Neto, it would be after they've already secured a center forward and a center back. And if there's enough money left and enough financial fair play, then Pedro Neto could be seriously considered. Now, my question to you is, Pedro Neto, yes, no, maybe? Honestly, personally speaking, I would rather not sign Rashford, use those 30 million euros that we're set to spend on Rashford, add some money to it, and sign Pedro Neto. Because I've said many times, there's much better options out there than Marcus Rashford. Yes, 30 million might not sound a lot, but I haven't seen anything that Rashford has done that's worth 30 million. I mean, there's a lot of options out there, whether it be Fofana, Nusa, Neto, but I don't know. That's just my opinion. Anyway, speaking of Marcus Rashford, John Laporta has made some interesting statements offering different formulas on how to sign the English winger. Now, as you know by now, Marcus Rashford is on loan until the end of the season with an option to buy worth 30 million euros, and Barcelona have announced that they will be activating that clause that will be paying the 30 million euros to Manchester United to sign Rashford on a permanent basis, who wants to stay at the club. And in the most recent interview that John Laporta did, well, he kind of offered a different formula on how to sign Rashford. And this is what the Barcelona candidate had to say. We could extend the loan further. It depends on what Deco wants. There are options such as sharing the purchase option with Manchester United. And for the rest, we'll see. He gives us good numbers in terms of goals and statistics, brings good vibes, and is very involved with the foundation. So John Laporta talking about perhaps extending the loan of Rashford, or maybe even extending the loan and then like paying half of the option and then paying the other half of the option later on. Of course, Manchester United were not very receptive of this suggestion, stating that the contract is for a one-season loan with a 30 million euro option to buy. And if Barcelona want to negotiate a new contract, well, that option to buy is going to increase because they believe that Rashford's market value has increased. So they would be wanting to increase that option to 40, maybe even 50 million euros. Now, here's what I want to say, because I like what Laporta is doing. Remember when I first talked about how Barcelona have decided to pay the 30 million for Rashford, and I said this club cannot negotiate. Well, this is what we need to be doing, right? We need to be sowing doubt in Manchester United's mind that we don't want Rashford. This is what we need to be doing, because look, we already have a contract that says we can buy him for 30 mil. So we already have the 30 mil guaranteed. Why not try to lower that? Okay, let's try it. Let's start leaking to the media. Hey, we don't want Rashford. We don't like Rashford. Flick doesn't want Rashford. Let's start sowing doubt in Manchester United's mind that Barcelona are going to pay those 30 million euros. In that way, get them scared enough or desperate enough to where they could lower that amount. Because after all, Manchester United doesn't want Rashford, and Rashford wants to stay in Barcelona. I mean, we have the perfect hand of cards in our hands. Clubs always dream of wanting to sign a player that doesn't want the club that wants to stay at your club, because then he can force his way out, or to sign a player that his current club doesn't want him, because then you can negotiate it. We have both. We have both a club, Manchester United, that doesn't want the player Rashford, and Rashford who wants to stay in Barcelona. We have everything we need to negotiate. Why not do it? After all, we have nothing to lose. This is not a situation where we can say, hey, Manu, I want less than 30. And then Manu's going to say, well, F you now, you can't have him. Or F you, now it's 40, 50. No, you already have the 30 million guaranteed through contract. Let's try to lower it. Let's try to start sowing fear in Manchester United's mind. Let's start talking about how we don't want Rashford, how Flick doesn't want Rashford. And that way they get desperate. After all, they don't want him. So why not try to negotiate that price down? We have nothing to lose. If it works, amazing. We save ourselves money. If we don't, still 30 mil. We have it in writing. Why not negotiate? So I like that John Laporta is doing this, talking about, oh, maybe extend the loan, maybe split it, blah, blah, blah. This is what we need to be doing. Learn something, Deco. Anyways, that is all, ladies and gentlemen. I did upload another video a few moments ago. If you haven't seen it yet, make sure to check it out. Don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, drop a comment. And as always, peace, class.